Oh, you want to be in the vlog, Alex?
The vlog?
Vlog?
No, we don't do that.
Good morning. Welcome to Summit Point. It is Memorial Day, and today is race day. I've been here for a few days now. Got here on Friday to do a track day. It was solid. Kind of really, again, first time really riding this year. And I'll show you guys the bike we're on this year. It's a little crammed in the pit space, so I can't get the most in depth. But this is a GSXR 600, courtesy of Metric Devil Moto, Mike Felice, Pirelli guy, you may know him as, but the bike looks phenomenal, as you can see, and super privileged and honored to be riding it this weekend and just riding it in general. So huge thank you to all these people on the side of the bike for making this happen. RM Paint Designs actually knocked it out of the park with the paint. SPS pads are unbelievable. The MDM suspension is unbelievable. The Pirelli tires are the best things in the world. And yeah, so far so good. I mean, Friday was a lot of just shaking off some cobwebs. It's my first time back on a 600 in 2 years, so it's a lot to get your brain back wrapped around. Yesterday there were races, but I only went out for 6 laps in a qualifying session. It was about 55 degrees all day, so I had no desire to ride a motorcycle. But today, as you can see, the sun is out. We're looking at 70 degrees today, and that sounds a lot better to me than 55. So I got practice sessions up here in a couple minutes, and then from there I have 5 races throughout the day, 2 super sport races, Azra sport bike, and then 2 super bike races. So it's going to be a day full of a lot of racing. There's a lot of fast competition here between guys like Stefano Mesa, Anthony Mazziato, guys that I'd be honored to keep up with. So the goal for the day is definitely see some 16s, maybe even some 15s, but it's time to switch the thing from riding around at track days and getting comfortable to time to actually go fast. So we'll throw the GoPro on the bike. You guys can see what I'm dealing with out here, but Summit Point's a fast circuit. It's a lot of fun, but it's definitely it's fast. We'll just leave it at that. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there, and we'll see you guys out there.
All right, so this is a practice lap on Monday morning. Really the only practice session I had before the day's races. By no means the best lap, or really none of my laps today were, but overall just a decent look at the racetrack we're dealing with here. Super long straightaway at Summit Point, and turn 1, you're driving hard up out of there. Second gear on the gearing we have on the Gixxer, and making it up to 4th before turn 3 here, grabbing a downshift into 3. I had a few times where I got some pretty nasty head shake coming out of turn 3 here, and literally sometimes we were as full of bar to bar. Something that we're just kind of, something I'm fighting with. I think it's more my riding than the bike, so it can be attributed to that. And this bike also has a pretty sweet slipper clutch in it, which is very nice and handy when you're wrapping lots of downshifts going into corners. But this whole weekend was just struggling to wrap my brain around the whole 600 thing again. It's been 2 years since I've ridden one, like I've said, and just trying to get my feet wet again and get comfortable on the machine. It's definitely just such a different animal than the SVs and the lightweights. You're just so much higher strung and everything else. And coming up here to turn 10, you'll see I'm bouncing off rev limiter in 4th gear before I brake and grab my downshift into this turn. But overall, some solid practice laps. One thing I did not realize is how little time I had before my first race. So I didn't get any footage of that, but we still had some practice footage, and I'll see you guys in race 2.
First race of the weekend in the books. Can't be too upset with it. I don't think I got it recorded because it was literally came in from practice and then instantly had to change tires back out for the race. So it was scrambling to make it out for the race. So I'm gonna have practice footage before this, but it was heavyweight super sport, first race of the day here on Sunday, and I got a decent jump. I was like 4th, 5th maybe, and then I just kind of got shuffled back, and I was at the back of the pack of all the leaders, which was I think 7 of us, and it was just pretty much a great train of guys for the whole race, and I was just the back of it. It's just, I feel like I haven't raced in almost a year, which is pretty accurate to how much racing I've done, or raced the 602, but got down into the 17s here at Summit Point, which is a decent lap time, so If I can keep improving every time I go out, I should hopefully be able to battle for some podiums before the day is done, but it's definitely some work out there. But we'll see what we can do in the remaining 4 races of the day.
So here we come up to the grid for race 2, and this kind of gives you a rough idea of how stacked these grids are and how deep they are. I mean, on this one, I'm starting on the 7th row, right next to Joe Lamondre, who, if you're familiar, he's a Moto America racer in the Junior Cup, and yeah, it's a lot of stiff competition with guys like Stefano out there, Mazziato, Joe Lamondre, and even the rest of the guys behind them are the guys I was battling with and struggling to get around and fighting with. So, like I said earlier, I got a lot of room to improve from this weekend, and I'm looking forward to improving very shortly here. But you're going to see just the absolute mayhem that is turn 1 in one of these middleweight races. So right away you can see bikes everywhere, people all over the place. You got fast guys that started in the back trying to make their way through everyone. No excuses other than just rusty, just struggling. A lot of these guys are guys I shouldn't be having any issues with, and there goes Stefano right around the outside of me, which kind of shows you where I was at, way out wide, and still made some passes in that corner, but you can already see the freight train forming in front of me. And that's kind of how it stayed for the whole race, other than the top 3 who checked out. But this pack right up in front of me is just, I was just struggling to stay with them in this race, and I wasn't stoked about it by any means, and I know this isn't where I should be, and I'm capable of way faster times and going much faster, and I should be up there at the pointy end fighting there. And overall, there's some good battles over these next few laps, and really the whole race. And yeah, just trying to do what I can to make some moves and get around some guys. Right now, the guy in front of me on the white bike with the neon green leathers is Joe. Joe has been doing this for the better part of a decade at this point, and he's a good friend of mine and one of the guys who really influenced me a lot when I first started coming around the track. And this is actually the first time me and him ever got to ride or race together, so I was super excited about it. And this was a pretty good move here, I won't lie, around the outside of both of them coming out of 10. But me and Joe ended up dicing it up for the majority of this race, and just had an absolute blast riding with him and racing. We were just swapping positions back and forth, and that's really what it's all about, is just close racing with your buddies. And it was, like I said, really a privilege to get to ride hard with Joe. coming out of 10 here, I got a better drive than Joe coming out, and I know he's on a ZX6 that's running MR12 in this race, so I really wanted to try to stick in his draft as long as I could and pull out at the last second to outbrake him into one here, and mission was accomplished there, so it felt good to know that with a faster bike like that I could tuck right into their draft and stay with them. And now I'm just trying to put my head down and catch up to the guys in front of me up the track and try to gain a few more positions before the race is done. So I'm not quite sure what happened here, but something caused this guy to start sticking his leg off the bike as if he was pitting out. And then on top of that, I grab into a false neutral right here and struggling to get it back into gear. And if you've seen my previous videos, you know how much I hate false neutrals and how much they sketch me out. And then this guy, all of a sudden, he's right back on it after sticking his foot off, and still sticking his foot off. So that was really confusing and kind of worrying to ride around. But that false neutral definitely just threw me out of my groove because I was working my way up to that group in front of us, and then false neutral just kind of threw me out of all of it. Had to kind of collect myself the next few corners and figure out what I was doing. Joe tried getting back around me in the brakes there, but I just kind of let go of the lever for a second and said not today, and got back around him. Got back up in front of this guy too, coming into turn 3 here, and was pretty determined to not let Joe beat me in this race. That was kind of my goal at this point, but everything can't go as planned, right? So I believe we're coming up onto the white flag here, so we got one lap to go, and you can see I clearly move over to the right side of the track to try to protect my inside, and conveniently enough, this is when my GoPro also screwed up the recording. So ultimately, Joe got me for whatever position we were battling for in the last corner, and you can see here the footage freezes, but overall, really fun race, and building on it for the rest of the day. So I'm just now realizing as I'm going back and editing this footage that my GoPro failed to capture my best race of the weekend, which was the Azure race. So this is actually my last race of the weekend, and unfortunately it's kind of my worst. So I'll show you guys the start here and the first lap or two, but after that it's just something I'd rather not relive. I was just doing all the wrong things and just kind of going backwards the entire race and just struggling, really just struggling the whole time. And honestly, between the Azure race and this one, it was only supposed to be probably about an hour, 2 hours apart. It ended up being like 4 or 5 hours apart because of all the red flags throughout the day. So I was on the bike here feeling like I hadn't ridden all day, and it was just a bit of a whole situation in my head, and really just not stoked with how it went. And at first I was right there, you know, I can see the front guys, and I'm pretty happy with how this is going, and then I just kind of started fading backwards and started going slower and slower. So definitely bummed out that my best races didn't get recorded. For whatever reason, it seems like a technical issue on my end, and what I can say is that when I come back for the next summit round, which is this upcoming weekend for me, and 2 weeks after this was filmed, I'm looking forward to putting my head down and going to work and really trying to build on the platform that I gave myself, and on this amazing bike and everything else. All the people behind me, they deserve to see me up towards the front of these races fighting for wins and podiums, and if I can drop a second or two a lap consistently, I can be right there. And I hope to be able to follow Anthony Mazziato, who's right in front of me now, just all the way around. But you can see his exit out of turn 10 there is just absolutely insane. I got to figure out how to get that kind of drive out of these corners on these bikes, but I'm going to kind of wrap it up here because, like I said, I didn't do a great job at filming this weekend, so there's not really any clips other than 1 or 2 of me off the bike, so I'm going to wrap it up here, and just such a big thank you to everyone who supported me and has made this possible. It's absolutely unreal to be in a position where I get to race a motorcycle that's not mine and be backed by some of the biggest names in the paddock, so I want to show these guys that their faith in me is not misplaced and that I can go a lot faster. And like I said, I really look forward to proving that to everyone and proving it to myself as well. So, in the meantime, until this next video comes out, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more content, and I'll see you guys back soon, and hopefully at the front of one of these races. Thanks, guys.